Hey, my name is STIX and welcome back to another weekly bite of MMORPG news, a video series where I talk about everything in the MMO genre that mattered to me over the course of the last week or two. Betas, alphas, early access, new releases, drama. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to this channel, hit the little bell notification, set it to all so you get notified whenever I post a new video, and trust me, you're gonna want to be notified whenever I post new videos. I post a lot of new videos. Let's go ahead and jump right in because we got a lot to talk about. Let's start this off with Palia. Palia is a cozy life sim-ish MMO that released earlier this year into a form of early access. The game is supposed to be launching on PC and Switch. It just launched onto Switch into early access as well. The game is now free to play, completely playable by everyone on both platforms. If you're interested in playing it, I urge you to go ahead and give it a try because it is a surprisingly entertaining game at its core. My wife, MRSSTIX, she absolutely loved this game. She played it for like a month or two straight. Crystal of Atlon announced that they are launching globally in 2024. This is a brand new anime MMO that's kind of like Tower Fantasy. Both MRSSTIX and I got access to the game. MRSSTIX has been playing it for probably upwards of 15 hours so far. She's going to be doing a dedicated video on it. At some point in the next week and a half, there is a test phase going on right now. I do have pre-registration links for this test phase, for potentially the next test phase, over on my website, my gachahub.com. You should definitely bookmark this because I have a lot of pre-registration links. I post news on upcoming gacha games and cross-platform MMOs as well, so you can stay up to date with, because let's be honest here, cross-platform MMOs are kind of the future, as much as none of us really want to admit this. NCSoft recently revealed that they are releasing a new version of Blade & Soul called Blade & Soul Neo Classic. Now, up until this point, they've been pretty quiet and pretty vague on what this game version is gonna be, and they've released a couple little teasers as of the last week and a half. I will do a dedicated video on this with all of the information that we have at our disposal over the course of the next few days. So I urge you to be on the lookout for that. This is going to be a big overhaul of the game that we have now, or not even necessarily an overhaul, a kind of like somewhere between, if what I recall from what I was told, somewhere between like a partial classic, partial reboot, partial altered version of the game. So I'm kind of excited to see what they have to say and what this new version of the game will bring to the table. Before we cover any other news though, I do want to take a moment to thank all of my incredible patrons over on Patreon. It will allow for me to continue to do dedicated videos like this every single week. You guys are the best and I cannot thank you all enough. Now back to the video. Drakantos is a brand new MMO that I actually covered very recently, just a couple weeks ago, because this is a really good looking MMO. An MMO that utilizes a pixel art graphical style, an action combat system, a heavy narrative focus. This game looks really cool, very unique, and I can't wait to play it very soon. Throne and Liberty launched on December 7th, and players have thus far been divided. There are some people that think it's actually surprisingly good, some people that think it's actually really bad. There's another content creator I'm going to be talking to in the very near future. You guys might know him. His name is Jay Oddity. He does a lot of Throne and Liberty videos, a lot of New World videos. We're gonna be going over what he thinks of the game, because we've been playing the Korean version quite extensively over the course of the last week and a half. I'm gonna have a video up with him at some point in the next week or two as well. I urge you to look forward to that. Try and check that out, because you'll be able to then have a glimpse and get a bit of a gauge of what to expect from Amazon's version of the game when it releases at some point in 2024. Fantasy Tales Sword and Magic is an exploration MMORPG that is now open for global pre-registration. I will again have a link to this over on my gachahub.com. I don't really know much about this game. I haven't looked at trailers. I haven't looked at gameplay. I haven't read up on it. All I know is this is apparently going to be, it's either a mobile or a cross-platform. Yeah, here we go. Android, iOS, and PC via Steam. So, like Genshin, like Tower Fantasy, This is a cross-platform game. I guess I will probably have a dedicated video of this up at some point in the next 2 days over on my STIX channel, which if you don't already follow, you definitely should. Reign of Guilds is holding a public test in 5 days. This is a game that a surprising number of people are actually kind of excited for. I'm interested in seeing how it plays myself. There's a trailer for this over on YouTube. Now this is gonna be interesting. Let's leave it there. It's gonna be interesting. I'm curious to see what happens with it. Black Desert Online revealed a lot of information at their most recent Calpheon Ball, but the most important things are the winter outfits, because I mean, outfits, fashion, but more than that, 2 new classes. The Scholar, who's wearing very short shorts for, you know, maybe they're just really comfy and allow for her to read, you know, be comfy when reading books, I don't know. And whatever this class is, apparently he uses a sword with a pipe as an offhand, and that's all we know. So, I mean, she looks very cool, the Scholar, but when do Black Desert classes not look cool, right? They always look fucking incredible. Tarisland addressed their gender locking, pay to win, and boosts. Surprisingly, after a lot of negative feedback concerning gender locking, like who'd have thought, right? Oh my god, gender locking races or gender locking classes in an MMO piss people off. Holy shit, I never would have anticipated that happening, but I mean, here we are. People are upset that they can't play the gender, the race, and the class that they want. So with this in mind, the studio Tencent was like, you know what, maybe we'll ungender lock everything. So that's what they're doing, they're ungender locking the classes. That's good news. I played Tarisland. It was not a very good game, but I mean, hey, at least you'll be able to play a not very good game as the gender you want, so cool. Tower Fantasy Reboot has been elaborated on a little more. There's a, a thread over on Reddit, and actually there's a TLDR because there's apparently a lot of information to go over. I'm not gonna read through it all because it's a lot of information to go over, but the key takeaway from this is that there's gonna be no data transfer whatsoever between Tower Fantasy 1 and Tower Fantasy, like whatever this new version's called. Tower Fantasy 2, Tower Fantasy Reboot, Tower Fantasy less crap, which means that the money that you spent, the characters you obtained, the weapons you got, everything you did is gonna be irrelevant because you're gonna need to do it all again, theoretically on the new server, which kind of sucks for people that invest a lot of time and money into their current characters or current server and everything and the version that they're playing. Perfect New World held a beta test recently, and MRSSSTIX had the opportunity to play it. She played a lot of it, as you can tell by the title, 40 hours. She did a dedicated video on this, all of her thoughts, what she thinks needs improvement, what she thought was good, and admittedly, the game is very far from being ready. This is a game that, if released today, would immediately fail because it was broken, it was unfinished, it was uneven, a mess. Watch her video. This is a game that is supposedly a decent ways through being complete, finished in theory, because after playing it, it really doesn't feel like it. But I strongly urge you to check out both this video and the Tarisland video because realistically, these are games that are probably going to be releasing in the next year or two. Probably more, like, they're going to release sooner than Ashes of Creation and Arc Age 2 and other games that we're anticipating, more than likely anyway. And that is it. That is all of the MMO related news that mattered to me over the course of the last couple weeks. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. But if none of these are games that you're at all interested in, you know what, absolutely no problem. I got you covered 2 different videos on screen right now that might be more interest to you.